Most people don't notice the moment something quietly changes inside them.
This record follows that moment, when a person realizes something has shifted, but can't yet explain what it is. People rarely recognize the exact moment when something changes inside them. There is no clear signal, no dramatic event, and no visible break. Life continues as usual, yet a subtle distance begins to form between what they feel and what they are able to express. This distance is not immediately alarming. It feels familiar, manageable, and easy to ignore. In many situations, this shift begins during ordinary circumstances. Waiting becomes longer than expected. Conversations feel incomplete. Decisions are made without the confidence that once accompanied them. Nothing appears wrong from the outside, but internally, something no longer aligns the way it used to. People sense it without naming it. This record does not focus on the event itself, but on the internal response that follows. When individuals find themselves adapting silently, adjusting expectations, and lowering emotional visibility, they rarely identify this as change. It feels more like maturity, responsibility, or necessity. Over time, however, the accumulation of these adjustments creates a persistent internal pressure. In family relationships, this often appears as unspoken restraint. Words are chosen more carefully. Conflicts are avoided rather than resolved. Emotional reactions are softened to maintain stability. What remains unsaid grows heavier than what is expressed. The individual continues functioning, yet carries a growing sense of distance within familiar connections. In situations shaped by conflict or external pressure, the same process occurs. People learn to wait without expecting resolution. They prepare themselves for outcomes they cannot influence. Over time, this preparation becomes habitual. Emotional responses are regulated before they surface. Hope becomes conditional. Attention shifts from possibility to endurance. This adaptation is not forced. It develops gradually as a response to repeated exposure. Each small adjustment feels reasonable in isolation. Together, they form a pattern. The individual becomes skilled at managing internal reactions while maintaining external normality. Life appears stable, yet something essential is no longer fully present. Luna records this stage as it emerges. There is no clear boundary where change begins. There is only the recognition that something once felt directly is now filtered. Emotions are not absent, but they are measured. Expression becomes selective. Vulnerability is postponed. This condition does not immediately result in distress. Many people function effectively within it. Responsibilities are met. Relationships continue. Decisions are made. The cost is not visible in performance, but in presence. A quiet awareness develops that certain feelings are no longer accessed as freely as before. This record observes how individuals adapt without realizing they are adapting. The shift does not announce itself. It settles quietly into daily life, shaping behavior, expectations, and emotional range. What remains is a state that feels normal, even as it subtly alters how a person experiences connection, conflict, and choice. Luna does not interpret this as failure or strength. The record does not assign meaning. It documents the moment where internal change becomes part of ordinary life, unnoticed, unnamed, and unresolved. As this internal shift becomes familiar, people rarely question it. The absence of intensity feels safer than uncertainty. Emotional distance is interpreted as balance. Reduced expectations are framed as realism. Over time, the effort required to feel deeply is replaced by the effort to remain functional. In close relationships, this often leads to quiet rearrangements rather than open conflict. Roles become clearer but less flexible. Affection is expressed through routine rather than spontaneity. Care is shown through responsibility instead of vulnerability. The relationship continues, but the emotional range within it narrows without anyone explicitly choosing that outcome. In environments shaped by prolonged pressure or instability, individuals learn to prioritize predictability. Emotional responses are managed before they reach the surface. Reactions are delayed, measured, or withheld entirely. This is not suppression in the dramatic sense. It is calibration. People adjust themselves to what feels survivable. The same pattern appears across different circumstances. Whether shaped by family dynamics, conflict, loss, or responsibility, the result is similar. A person remains present while slowly disengaging from certain internal states. The body continues, the routine holds, and life moves forward without interruption. What changes is not behavior, but proximity to feeling. Experiences are processed at a distance. Events are acknowledged without fully entering them. This distance allows stability, but it also limits connection. Over time, individuals may sense that something important has been set aside, though they cannot easily identify when or why that happened. This condition does not collapse suddenly. It stabilizes. Many people remain in it for long periods, functioning effectively and appearing composed. The cost is subtle. It appears in moments of quiet when emotional access feels delayed or incomplete. It appears in the sense that reactions arrive after the moment has passed. Luna records this not as decline, but as adaptation. The record observes how human systems respond to prolonged demands by narrowing emotional exposure. This narrowing is not imposed from the outside. It is learned, repeated, and reinforced through experience. There is no clear resolution within this state. Some individuals eventually re-engage with what they set aside. Others maintain the balance indefinitely. The record does not predict outcomes. It documents the condition as it persists. This observation ends without instruction or conclusion. It remains a record of how people continue living while quietly changing the way they feel. Over time, many people stop noticing the effort required to maintain this internal balance. What once felt like adjustment becomes routine. Emotional restraint turns into habit. The individual no longer compares their current state to how things once felt, because the reference point slowly fades. This does not mean people become empty or detached. They continue caring, functioning, and participating. What changes is the depth at which experiences are allowed to register. Certain reactions are softened before they fully form. Certain feelings are acknowledged without being explored. Life remains intact, but the internal texture becomes flatter, more predictable. In moments of stillness, some individuals sense this difference. It appears briefly, often without context. A thought lingers longer than expected. A memory carries less weight than it once did. A response arrives too late to be useful. These moments pass quickly, absorbed back into routine, but they leave behind a quiet awareness. Luna records these moments without interpreting them. The record does not frame them as loss or progress. It observes that human systems often choose stability over intensity when faced with prolonged uncertainty. This choice is rarely deliberate. It emerges through repetition and reinforcement rather than decision. As this pattern continues, the individual becomes skilled at existing within narrowed emotional boundaries. Life does not feel unbearable. It feels manageable. Responsibilities are met. Relationships continue. The cost remains subtle and largely invisible, even to the person experiencing it. This record does not suggest reversal or resolution. It does not ask for change. It notes that many people remain in this state indefinitely, adapting their inner lives to match what feels sustainable. The system does not require awareness to function, and the individual does not require explanation to continue. Luna concludes this record by observing continuity rather than outcome. The process does not end. It stabilizes. What remains is a life that moves forward, shaped quietly by